So guys, here it is. We've got the battle for Malko, the final battle of our Border Princes campaign, and the dwarves have smashed through the walls and we're now fighting over the ruined town centre. So I am playing as the Cult of Slaanesh today. John is commanding the dwarves. I'll just quickly go over the armies and our spells now. So my army, I've got two units of Dark Riders, no crossbows, just musicians on both. So this one here, and then there's one all the way over there in the far corner. Should say before we start, actually, the scenario is we're playing a scenario Ancient Artifact, which is from a tournament pack, where the central objective is worth 400 points to whoever holds it at the end. To hold it from turn 2 onwards, whichever unit with the highest unit strength is within 3 of it gets to claim a token at the end of each player turn. So by the end of the game, whoever has the most tokens counts as claiming the objective and gets the extra 400 points. There's no table quarters. You do get the extra 100 points for killing a general and the usual points for banners. But yeah, we also, the deployment is a bit different than usual with a diagonal deployment 18 inches apart, so it does get bloody quite quickly. So as well as my Dark Riders, I've got 2 identical 16-man Dark Elf Spearman units. So one here, one over there, 2 Reaper Bolt Throwers. I've got a unit of Devoted, who are the Cult of Slaanesh version of Witch Elves. Basically, they get an additional attack without being frenzied, but they don't benefit from being poisoned. Cold One Knights over here. And onto my characters. So leading the Cold One Knights is the Druchii Anointed, who is the, again, Cult of Slaanesh special character. He is quite nasty, but due to my special rules, I have to have a sorceress as a general. So I've got a level 2 over here, who's my general. She's got Marcus Slaanesh and has got spells from Slaanesh. And another level 2 there. And the Anointed is also a level 2 in this case. So my general has got Enrapturing Spasms and Blissful Throws. The other one has got Titillating Delusions and Blissful Throws. And then the Anointed is going from the Dark Magic. So he's got Black Horror and Word of Pain. On to John for the dwarves.
Evening all. For the diary tonight, we are set in a box formation because I think I can hopefully outshoot Scott. For core, we have got 11 great weapons, dwarf warriors. We have got 19 longbeards, 10 thunderers. Special, we've got 20 hammerers, full command. The longbeards are also full command. A bolt thrower, a cannon. And then rare, we got an organ gun sneaking here and the gyro around the corner. For characters this time, we've got the 2 things in with the longbeards, just in here, Lady Helga and her mate. A newly painted Thane in there with the hammerers. And then for our Lord, we have a Rune Lord to try and stop the despicable Slaaneshi magic. And that is 2,000 points of dwarves. Diary first turn. A little bit of shuffling around, nothing too major. In the shooting phase, the cannon was pretty accurate, going straight up through 3 Dark Riders and killing them. The bolt thrower had the flank on the Dark Riders down there, but he did miss. And then the Thunderers shot the bolt thrower. 4 hits, all on the bolt thrower, done 1 wound. And then the organ gun shot the bolt thrower. Rolled 2 hits, I re-rolled it, rolled 2 again, but then got a 5 and a 6 on to see what to hit and killed both the crew. So that was a pretty good turn 1 for the dwarves. On to the Cult of Slaanesh, turn 1, and over to Scott.
Okay, so we've just done turn 1 for the Cult of Slaanesh. Shuffled about a bit. The ladies and some spearmen moved up to try and take the objective early doors, as I feel like I'm going to need all the points I can get in this. The Dark Riders moved up to threaten the Gyrocopter over here, the Anointed and his Cold Ones past their stupidity, and after some umming and ahhing, I have moved up towards the terrifying organ gun. I'm going to risk it. these guys here are just trying to stay out of the way of too much shooting until they've decided what they want to do. And these Dark Riders have decided to be annoying. After passing their panic test, they've just moved up around the ruins over here. Magic. I got a Delusions off on a pretty high roll against the Thunderers. So John used his Spell Eater rune. Although it did stop the spell as a Dispel Scroll would, it didn't erase it for the rest of the game, thankfully. And then I tried to Enrapturum Spasms, the same unit, which John dispelled. And then I did a very long shot of a Black Horror with only 2 dice for an 11+ spell on the Organ Gun, which failed. So magic didn't do much. The Bolt Thrower, despite being in short range, only hit twice. Killed... Sorry, it hit twice, wounded twice, but thanks to Bound of Grugny on them... Banner of Grugny, sorry, it's a 5-up ward save, so saved all but one. So at the moment, only one dwarf has fallen, and the Dark Elves are a very weakened unit and minus a war machine. So on to dwarves 2.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, dwarves turn 2 was some shuffling up again of the Longbeards and the Hammerers. The Thunderers reformed to get some more shooting in. In the shooting phase, the cannon went for his Anointed, got a direct hit, but he passed his Lookout Sir, so he killed one cold one. The Bolt Thrower missed the Devoted. Then the Gyrocopter got, was it 11? 11 hits?
No, it was more than that, 14.
Sorry, no, it was the partials, wasn't it? I think it was 11.
11, yeah.
He got 11 hits and killed one Devoted, thanks to a brilliant roll. And then the Organ Gun got 4 hits and only killed 2 Devoted. So, a little bit of a letdown in the shooting phase, but there we go. We are going in now to Cult Slaanesh and Scott's turn 2.
So Cult of Slaanesh turn 2 went a little bit better for me. So I moved everything up. Dark Riders over here. They have come to threaten the cannon over here. These ones are moving around the other side to try and get some of these artillery pieces out of the equation. Stupidity again passed, so cold ones moved up, but they were march blocked by the Gyrocopter. The Gyrocopter survived the first blissful throws from a general, but the second one managed to shave it down, even though they only between them did 3 wounds, but that was just enough to kill it. I tried to Enrapturum Spasms, the Organ Gun, so it couldn't fire, using a Power Stone, which made my Sorceress miscast, and so she couldn't cast any other spells. And the other Sorceress tried to do Delusions on this unit of Longbeards to try and pull them out of formation, but that was dispelled. Then shooting the Bolt Thrower over there, could just about draw bead on the Longbeards and managed to skewer 3 with a single bolt. So, given the scenario, and I've had guys on the objective now for 2 turns, for 2 turn 2s, because it's at the end of every player turn. I now have 2 tokens towards the objective, whilst John currently has none. However, it is still all to play for. And on to Dwarves turn 3.
Dwarf turn 3, again in the movement phase. The Longbeards shuffle back to try and protect their Organ Gun. The Hammerers are getting aggressive and pushing forward. The Rune Lord and his unit have come round to try and protect their flank from the Dark Riders. And that was all the movement. The shooting now, the cannon fired down the line of the cold ones and the Anointed. He couldn't look out, sir, because he didn't have enough models in there. It killed the one cold one and then wounded the Anointed and done 3 wounds to kill him. Obviously, with the Rune of Forging, it was magic, so it took away his ward save. And then the Organ Gun finished off the rest of the cold ones. I re-rolled a 2 into a 6, and that polished them off. Bolt Thrower missed the Devoted again, and the Thunderers killed 1 Spearman. But all in all, a very good turn for the Dwarves. On to Cult Slaanesh, turn 3.
Right, it's getting a little bit more desperate for the Cult of Slaanesh as we've lost our big heavy hitting unit. So a bit more of a shuffle around. The characters have risked getting out of units. The Dark Rider here charged the cannon. Over here, I just reformed these Dark Riders. They didn't fancy charging head on into the warrior unit, so they're trying to threaten the rear over here. Magic went quite well as John rolled a double one to dispel my delusions, which I cast on the organ gun, and that's the point that it must now move towards when it's available to. I then tried to cast Enrapturing Spasms on the Longbeards, but John dispelled that one. I managed to get a Wand of Corridon onto the Dwarf Thunderers, but didn't wound anyone. And the Bolt Thrower then killed 2. And in combat, Dark Rider killed 1 on the charge, but lost another one to the 2 dwarves. So they lost the combat, but it did hold. So the cannon is at least out of commission for a turn, which I desperately needed, especially with my general sitting out in the open over there. So I've also got another 2 counters from turns 3 for Dwarfs and turn 3 for Cult of Slaanesh. So I'm on 4 counters to John's 0. So I do currently hold the objective, but that could change with those hammers moving into my zone. On to Dwarfs 4.
Right, Dwarf turn 3. Was that? No, that was 4, wasn't it?
Dwarf 4, yeah.
Dwarf turn 4. There was quite a few charges. The hammers charged the spearman, the Longbeards charged the devoted, and the Rune Lord charged the Dark Riders. The Dark Riders held, and I was just out. The Longbeards did get in, and these cowardly Druki spearmen fled from the hammerers. So that's how it was left after the movement phase. Shooting, obviously the cannon was still in combat, and the organ gun, Enrapturing Titillating Delusions, so he had moved. So the Thunderers done 2 wounds to the spearmen. The Bolt Thrower then done another 2, which caused a panic, which they passed. That was shooting. Combat. The Longbeards got in. Obviously, I had the 2 things over that side. They killed 4 of the devoted, and with Banner's ranks outnumber and a room of battle, we won by 5. And the devoted ran 6, and the dwarves ran 9 to run them down. So after turn 4, it's gone a lot of the way of the dwarves at the minute. Scott needs to do something this turn.
Okay, Cult of Slaanesh, turn 4. These guys over here rallied, which is good because I desperately need them on the table. The Dark Riders decided to charge the Bolt Thrower instead of the Organ Gun because I didn't want to risk getting a rear charge from those warriors there. That's paid off as they've killed the Bolt Thrower crew, overrun into the cannon just in time as well as the other Dark Rider had fled in his combat. Magic phase, one of them didn't cast any spells just so I could keep Titillating Delusions going on that organ gun there. But I did get a Blissful Throws through on this unit, which killed a few of the Longbeards, and then the repeated Bolt Thrower over here did another couple of wounds. So have shaved off a few, but not enough. I need to do a bit more. And I've got 6 tokens on the objective now, so I think even if John shifts me off of it, he's not going to be able to get enough tokens to capture it. So that will help, but I have lost quite a lot of points, so I've got a lot to play for still, and it's Dwarves turn 5.
Turn 4 for the Dwarves was a 5. I've done that every turn, haven't I? Turn 5 for the Dwarves was a pretty sharpish turn. The hammers have moved up to obviously start hunting these down. The Longbeards have swung round, as did the great weapons. In the shooting phase, obviously the organ gun had to move. The Thunderers shot the spearmen and killed 4. Yep. They didn't fail a panic check. And then in the combats, the Dark Riders only managed to kill 1 of the crew. The other one didn't do any wounds back, but he stuck around, more importantly. So this will be on to Cult of Slaanesh turn 5.
Right, Cult of Slaanesh turn 5. Some little slightly cowardly moves and a bit of finicky manoeuvring, but I think we're grasping at straws now for the just trying to mitigate losses. So these guys charged the Thunderers over here, feeling that the organ gun would have got them. Probably wouldn't have gone anywhere, and then they would have got flanked. These have moved back and then turned. I'm hoping I'm out of charge arc. I didn't want to just play the move backwards, which would have definitely got me out of charge arc, but then next turn would have been charged. So we shall see how that goes. Over here, magic between two lots of blissful throws and then the bolt thrower, we have got rid of quite a lot of the longbeards. So that is one thing that's gone my way. Combat was atrocious. Dark Elves didn't wound anything at all, and even though they didn't take anything back, they're now drawn in the middle. And the Dark Riders there failed to wound, which is bad news for them given that there is a big block of warriors sitting behind them. So, final turn Dwarfs, and I'll leave it to John.
Right, Dwarves turn 6. I finally got it right this time. Charges were just the great weapons charge in the back of the Dark Riders. They passed their panic from that, and then rest of the movement, the hammers just marched up. I knew I was miles out of range. The Longbeards just reformed for a nice reason that ended in disaster. Shooting wise, the Thunderers were in combat, but the organ gun turned to face the general and he misfired and blew himself up as well, just to make things doubly worse. In the combat, I don't know whether we come out winners in the end or not, probably not. But the great weapons butchered 3 of the Dark Riders, but they did kill the cannon crew. And then in the other one, you killed 1 Thunderer.
Yeah.
You killed 1 Thunderer in no return. The Thunderers lost that combat, but they passed their panic check. But the Spearmen broke from the Dark Riders breaking from combat. So in Scott's turn, he's got a few rallies to take care of and a bit of shooting and magic. And I think is still quite in the balance now. So on to Scott.
All right, the game is over. Just go over my last turn there. I think not enough went well that needed to go. So I probably just lost it at the end there, but we shall see when we total up the points. These guys are the real killer. They didn't rally, which is annoying, especially because they fled even though they were winning their combat. These guys did rally on the other hand. The magic phase, the plan was just to blast this unit over here to pieces. Unfortunately, the first blissful throws was stopped, and then this lady here, who's my general, blasted herself sideways, didn't cast it, and then the Wonder Corridon was easily stopped. The bolt thrower then decided it wasn't worth trying to kill the Longbeards as they're already under half and it's unlikely I was going to wipe them out. So I went for the Thunderers. And I only killed 1, so not enough to panic them and not enough to take them under half. So that's where it stands. I do have the 400 points for taking the objective, so that might help, but it doesn't look like I've done a great deal to the Dwarves. So we shall tally up and see who has won and come back with the results. Right, John, what's the damage points-wise?
Oh, you done with extra 400, you done 1,009, and then the Dwarves done 1,337. So it was a very minor win at about 328 points.
Which means if you had rallied, you useless spearmen, then I would have got the draw and the Dark Elves would have held the town. As it is, on our campaign map, this was the final battle of the campaign. The fortified town of Malko, which the Dark Elves had sacked in a previous turn, was worth a mighty 10 points, and there was only 1 point of difference between us. So the Dwarves have now reconquered the town, saved the border princes from falling under the dominion of the Slaanesh cults, and winter has set in, so they've had to get back on their boats and bugger off back to Nagaroth.
Want to do a quick summary?
Yeah, go for it.
be fair, my army, the shooting done pretty well, and then these were very nasty in the combat. The cannon was the MVP really, sniping out your anointed and the cold ones.
Yeah, that made a huge difference.
Yeah, because it just scuppered what you could do really, and it took 2 magic dice off you.
I think that was a good 650 points between the unit and the character as well.
And getting that bolt for a first turn was very handy because the other one still done quite a lot of damage. Where do you think it went wrong for the Slaanesh?
Well, I don't think I've had a single game where the Anointed has done what I want him to. For anyone who doesn't know, he's like a really tooled up, almost demonic Dark Elf character, and the problem is it's really tempting to go overboard and give him loads of gifts and make him really strong, but then he becomes really like a lot of points, and he still is just a T3 elf, so that always hurts. And so yeah, cannon hit him. He does get a 5-up ward save, but it's a demonic save, so it doesn't work against magic. Of course, the dwarves put runes on everything, so they count as magical.
That's the hard thing about them in the cold ones, because you lose a couple, then you lose your lookouts there.
I think in hindsight, I would have just been better off scouting him, having him on foot, because then I could have he would have been a constant threat to you somewhere, and you'd have to kill him to guarantee that 400 points then. But
I spent a lot of points on my Rune Lord for the sake of that as well.
I think one of the stupidest things I did in the game was, because I was planning on holding them back, and then I thought, no, he's got the Wander Corridon, so I want to move him to see the Gyrocopter, and then I remembered he didn't have it. It was on one of the sorceresses. So, yeah, that was oversight by me. I think the thing with dwarves is always difficult is there's very little in the Cult of Slaanesh that can actually really cut through you. And even having war machines being stubborn just really limits your options of where you can charge. So you really do need to coordinate everything, get everything off at the same time.
That cannon holding those Dark Riders up, that was pretty much sealed me the points there as well. One cannon crew holding them that turn just so these could come in, otherwise they'd have bounced and overrun again.
Yeah, and then they would have been, I think, if they'd have gone through and then reformed, I might have been able to get them involved against the Thunderers in the last turn. There was a lot of things that could have gone better, but yeah, it is what it is. It was a very good campaign. We've had 20 turns over I think 7 months, so we've only just started filming, so if we do any kind of campaigns in the future, we will definitely document them from the beginning. But as just a standalone game, I hope you enjoyed this one. I do love the setup here that we've got. So it was as I said, the town had already been destroyed in a previous game, so we didn't see the point of doing a real siege as the walls are down.
The orcs.
Yeah, the orcs trashed. The Cult of Slaanesh took it from nobody, and then the orcs kicked them out. Then the orcs were destroyed by the vampires, and the dwarves... the Cult of Slaanesh retook it, only for the dwarves then to take it in the final turn and take the victory. So well done, John.
Well done, mate.